morning, and joining me on set is Caroline Chege. Good morning and thank you for joining us. She is a governance expert and, well, we're going to be looking at what's making headlines this morning. And as usual, we're going to start off with the Standard, where we have, the devolution conference going on yesterday, remember, was the day that the president was officially opening it, and he did address the governors and the conference from a video link. But one of the things that stood out, of course, was the fact that counties get 50 billion to overhaul main towns. Now, this on paper sounds like good news, Caroline, on the counties getting 50 billion. Although, what I found interesting also on this 50 billion is that it's going to be performance-based. It's not just going to be disbursed.
This would be, when we look at it, we would see at least every county would at least get 1 billion. If 50 billion is shared between the 47 counties, at least one will get 1 billion each. But the main issue is, if this money is performance-based, it is an incentive. What are the counties doing so far? There needs to be a highlight of each county. What performances have they done so far? And I believe it shouldn't be a new one. It should be already counties that have already performed well need to be given this incentive so that the other counties that have underperformed need to look at it as a form of, oh, these counties have gotten this, so these other counties that have lost need to get it. And also, as the president has also promised it, it says that the programs will offer counties a new revenue stream for funding. And also with that 50 billion comes with the 30 billion for the Kenya, for the devolution support program. And also this will go into waste management, into storms, drainage. Yes, so
disaster management.
Disaster management. And also, okay, I believe that as a country, we need to not look at the situation that we are at right now with the storms and the drainage and then decide to put funding for storms and drainage in the season of storms and drainage. Can we be proactive rather than reactive as a country?
Absolutely, and also just to ensure that we do that properly. But part of the money, of course, like they say here, up to 59 former municipal centers are going to be upgraded to town status. And, of course, the key question here would also be, once that is done, how does that help Wanjiku once it's upgraded? Does it bring in more business? Does it...
Of course, when the towns the municipals are made into, the former towns are made into municipals, it'll help the counties in that the counties don't have to come to Nairobi for all their the things that they need to do. For instance, when I lived in England, many people have never been to London because whatever it is that they need is within their locality. Right. And also the president has called upon all these regional and international investors to come into these towns and actually relocate and invest in the operations. This will mean jobs. This will mean lighting, good roads, connectivity. So this will bring devolution at the heart of the people. So people don't all have to come. 10 million of us living in the smallest county, which is Nairobi. So this way, the other counties, Kakamega will be able, Homa Bay and all these other counties that are underdeveloped will be able to reach their development goals and key, whatever the potential of their development.
Absolutely. And if we just scroll down a little bit further on that particular page, we have governors demand changes in partnership in law to encourage more private investment. This is what you're talking about. But of course, some of the things that we have learned over time with the devolution is the fact that some of the laws may restrict or make it very difficult for foreign investors to invest in those counties. For instance, if we have investors would want to invest in agriculture, it would make more sense for them to have those investments in the locality where the products which they're interested in are harvested, for example, as opposed to investing in Nairobi and having, to now deal with the transport and everything coming, which is what has happened before.
For instance, where are the coffee beans being taken to Europe and all these other countries, and then they are refined and then made to be at such a high price? Well, the coffee farmer in Kiambu or the tea farmer in Meru, is paid very little. They're still living as paupers, and yet they're the ones who are making... Kenya is very famous for our tea. We are famous for our coffee. Can we put all these manufacturing industries at the very grassroots level? If it is in Meru, the tea farm to be in Meru. If it is coffee farm, let it be in Kiambu. And this way, we'll see even in a region like Kiambu, where the youth will see alcoholism and drugs lessen. Because at the end of the day, as much as we want the policies to change, you have to look, as you rightly say, how will it benefit Wanjiko? Because even if you tell young people not to take drugs, not to take alcohol, what other alternative do we have? This is because they are idle. They have lost any form of hope in life.
Right.
But if we bring these industries there, they'll be able, even the senators who have the mandate to represent the county and their governors at the Senate, they'll be able to put in policies as the Wananchi need them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And still, while we are on that, because that still forms the headline for the nation, if I can just pull that out here, and the nation, all right, there you go. And it's still on the same, and 50 billion fresh funds to back counties. But the other question, of course, that many of us would want, or many Kenyans would want answered, is where is that 50 billion coming from? Because that money, is it in a kitty somewhere where that it was waiting? Where will that money come from?
I'm aware that the governors and the Council of Governors have been calling upon the president and the government to actually slash the money from the national ministries and the money to be channeled into the counties, because the devolution needs are not matching with the resource that is given to them. So the counties are requesting that actually, number one of the things to be done is for the money from the national ministries to be channeled into the counties so that they are able to do what it is that they are able to. The mandate of the county is quite big in comparison to the resources that they are given. And also, there are a lot of capacity gaps due to the lack, the minimal resources they have. So I believe they are rightly need to know where this money comes from, but the governors are actually calling for the national government to actually slash the ministries, because the ministry mandate is actually to do with legislation and policies, while the county are the ones who are doing the service delivery. So they believe that this money is more more
on the ground. All right, and maybe if we just go back to the standard, if I can do that, because on page 3, I believe it was, let me see if I can get there. One of the other challenges that we have had with devolution was playing out yesterday. And this is boos and applause as senators clash with governors on spending. Because that has been another bone of contention. Fine, there's going to be this 50 billion that's going to be given out to counties. We already have money that has been allocated for certain counties. But we also have power wars between senators and governors. And what I also realized from the conference, if you look at some of the recommendations that were given in the previous conferences, they have not been implemented. And one of those being just revenue allocation between senators, and rather senators being able to keep account or watch over the governors. And that seems to be a problem that has not been resolved.
Mike, let us first look at the positive thing. In the last devolution conference, only 2 senators showed up. In this 5th conference, devolution conference, 42 senators have showed up. So let us give them first a round of applause for the fact that they have come together. And at the end of the day, I don't believe it is really it is really the Senate wanting to implement their mandate. And also the governors, we have to understand that they are more powerful. They have more power in the form of, at the county level, and the senators must respect this. And the senators have a mandate, and I believe the only way forward is for them to unite and have collaborative efforts, because devolution is not a one-man show.
Correct.
There are several stakeholders. There is the national government, there is the senators, there are the people at the ground level, the local leaders. It has to be a collaborative move for them to work together. And I believe that through this conference we have seen, despite the Senate Murkomen and what he was saying and what Governor was saying, at the end of the day, you could see some cordial agreement. They were laughing together. They were having the same agreement that devolution has to be united. They have to come at it. Other than in the last government where they were fighting. You can see right now they are sitting together. They are agreeing together. They all want devolution to work, because almost all stakeholders must collaborate. They must put their efforts together for devolution to work. As much as the governors want to make devolution work, they cannot do it alone. The Senate has a great role to play. And when they are summoned, let the Senate ensure that they have let them known the exact reason. Let them have a justified legal reasons of why they are summoning a governor.
A governor.
Yes.
And one of the things, of course, we saw previously was also a war between MCAs and governors, and we saw quite a number of governors who were almost being ousted, and rather than, work, rather than do what they were put there to do, they were busy fighting to keep their seats, others fighting to keep them off the seat. So let's hope that after the conference, once the recommendations are done, they're not just recommendations on paper, but they can be implemented. And I know, I'm sure there are quite a number of governors watching now. And we really, at the end of the day, this whole conference is not just about them coming to gloat, but some of those recommendations that are done should be implemented.
Yes, Mike, I just want to add that what the MCAs really want is the Ward Development Fund, which is equivalent to the National Government Constituency Development Fund that is run by the ex-official who is a member of parliament. So what the MCAs are requesting the government and the Senate is to push forth the bill so that the Ward Development Fund can be able to reach to the MCA ward level, because the MCAs have got a lot of mandate. You know, the Senate is in Nairobi, right? The governors are in the headquarters where they are. But the MCA is one who is at the local grassroots to the Mwananchi, so they understand the real development needs. And there are some wards that are so marginalized. So I believe the MCAs are really fighting for the bill to be passed for the Development Ward Fund, so that they are able to run their wards in the same strength as the CDF.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, and later on in the newsroom, we're going to be looking at whether the devolution story has been told satisfactorily according to you. And maybe let me start with you, Caroline. In terms of the media, how we have covered the devolution story from its inception, not just the conference, but from its inception. Do you feel like the media, we've told it as it should be? Does the Mwananchi understand what devolution is? And secondly, have we given the whole scope, or have we concentrated on certain things? For example, there's been issues with corruption. There's been issues with devolved funds. Have we concentrated more on the negative and maybe forgotten the positive? Have we told the story well?
I would rightly exactly what I wanted to say. We have really focused on, for instance, in the last government, about the wheelbarrows that cost 1 million. And we've focused really on the counties that really dissembled a lot of the public funds. Let us focus on the stories, on the narratives that are positive, that are enlightening. Let us see which county. Let us pick one county and let us see the strengths of the governor, the strengths of the MCA. Let us see some MCAs being applauded for the good work. Because if all we are speaking about who stole funds, clearly then everyone is seeing that it's as if stealing funds is appropriate. It is the right thing to do. And now Kenyans have had so much of negative stories that negative stories have become the norm. How about we speak positive stories, that positive stories in terms of devolution, whether it is working, and despite whether it is working or not, this is what we have at our table. So we don't have a choice. We must make it work. So let the media help the governors, the senators, and the local Mwananchi see the positive stories so that this thing must work. It must work.
And that's a question that we are asking to you today. And the question is, are you satisfied with the media, or rather how the media has covered devolution since its inception? And let me just look at some of your responses, if I can get to that. We have Brayo, who says, yes, but corruption has manifested itself in most counties, hence making young people suffer. So according to Brayo, we have done a good job as a media, and albeit corruption, of course, has taken center stage. We have Wadere Shale Khaliye, who says that from Wajir, yes, congrats to KTN News, being only media that always gives people more than what they expect to get, and not only on devolution. Thank you very much for your accolades right there. David Ochola says, you concentrate too much on politics and fail to bring governors to task why they are fleecing counties. So I'm sure we do have our crew who are at Kakamega, and there you go. Maybe that's a response that you could look at, and keep them coming. We'll keep reading them through as we go along. The question here being whether you feel that the media has covered devolution as we should. But now let's go back to the dailies, because that's where we were. I'll come back to, if I can get this done. I'll come back to the tweets as we go along. But let's look at page 6 of the Standard. And this is Matters Politics. and the call for referendum. And there's, well, that article there, ODM backs calls for referendum to create Prime Minister's post. This again is to do with an expanded executive, given that the model that we have right now, after elections, we have a very hotly contested presidency. And even when you look at the figures, whoever wins or loses, whoever loses with a marginal number, but it's winner takes it all. Do you think this is something that possibly Kenya should be considering right now?
Mike, when I was looking at the top 10 growing economies in Africa, Kenya was not in the top 10 growing economies in Kenya because of our full year elections in 2017. We had 2 elections. How can we make the people, in one day, because of the floods that is ongoing, 20 Kenyans die? We must decide whether election and politics is more important than the lives of Kenyans. At the end of the day, have we managed to give Kenyans the development they need? Are Kenyans able to meet their most basic human rights before we meet the needs of political parties? Yes, we must understand that we live in a nation where I understand that the issue of ODM is that we have a nation where the winner takes it all, that the party that wins take home everything and the strong opposition goes home with nothing. But at the end of the day, as a country, our mandate first and foremost is to be able to create an environment where people are able to meet their most basic human needs. Right now, we have floods in Homa Bay. You know, half of the country, majority of the local wananchi, they are sleeping outside in the floods. People are dying. There are landslides all over happening. And then we want to enter into a referendum. This is okay, but can it be done in another maybe 10 years and not now? Well,
the question then would be the fact that part of the reason why this is necessary, according to those who are pushing for it, is to put leadership that is able to execute and take care of those needs. Because if we don't do it now, and I'm just, arguing from one perspective. If we don't do it now, then when? I mean, there's no time that is better to do it than other. We'll never be ready.
Mike, let us agree that we have several ODM governors, we have several ODM senators, we have several ODM MCAs. At the grassroots, let them perform the mandate that they are required to do, that they feel as a party, this is how we want to serve the wananchi. This is the environment we want to create for industry, for development and economic growth. So you don't really need a prime minister to be able to do service delivery. Let the ODM governors, the ODM senators, the ODM MCAs to be able to perform their job. Let us see what it is that they have done for the people. And also, sorry to take you back, can we have MCAs on this seat to be able to interact with the people? And also, let us have a reward and punishment system. So the MCAs and the governors that perform, can we see them, other than the media just highlighting stories, can we see the MCAs and the governors that perform being rewarded and the ones not performing be punished? Because at the end of the day, if we are calling for referendum, we seem to like elections. Can we like development more than we like elections?
All right, and well, maybe the reward system that you're talking about is part of what they're saying with the 50 billion, because it is performance-based. So maybe those who are able to perform well and are able to now access that 50 billion can develop their counties and possibly continue. Let's finish off with page 14 of the Standard, where we have the cartoon. I think it's at the bottom somewhere here, because this speaks to what's going on at the devolution conference. If I can just get this. All right, seems to move a bit fast, but there you go. This is basically cartoons eyes on the devolution conference, and we can see a gatekeeper there, and the people who are being stopped from going in, well, there's somebody here saying, the Council of Governors here saying, get out, nobody invited you here, and that's the Controller of Budget and the Auditor General. So basically, again, gatekeepers to the funds.
Yes.
And these funds are really meant to benefit or bring services to the people. Whether that's happening or not remains to be seen.
Mike, at the core of this issue is that we have to understand that 50% of the budget of this nation goes to 10%. 50% of taxpayers' money goes to pay 10% of Kenyans. To be at the heart of the issue, controller of budget in terms of the county, the counties need to realize that as much as they want more funds to be given to them, the national ministry budget to be channeled more to them. I know the Council of Governors also want for the national staff that was seconded into the counties to leave. They would like for all these funds to be given to them. Let them first be accountable with what they have. Because, Mike, a county like Turkana, they are given 59.8 billion. Can they account for 50? Do you know what you can do, Mike, with 59.8 million?
I have
can
a whole
they
lot that I
account?
could do.
Yes, can they account for this money? And then that is why probably the cartoon is showing about the audit. Can they legally account for this money in a very transparent and accountable manner? And I'm sure the control of budget will be able to assign more money. But there is no way more money is going to come in if they're not accountable and transparent. And this is not about personal preference. It is constitutional for them to be transparent and accountable, because this is taxpayers' money. Yeah, plus the debt that this nation owns.
All right, let's now go back to the nation, and for the benefit of anybody who might be joining us, we had already looked at the headline, but that's the headline right there. 50 billion fresh funds to back counties, and that was through the president's speech yesterday as he was opening the Council of Governors conference, which is in Kakamega County, and we've already gone through that, but there's also a story here on page 6, I believe it is. Let me see if I can get there as quickly as possible. On page 6 of the Nation, and this is to do matters politics. Ruto Nanok make up with eye on 2022, and of course we're going to expect alignments and realignments, but we do know that the COG chair, that's Nanok, is on an ODM ticket, but there seems to be a good relationship that is brewing between him and the deputy president. Could this be eyes on 2022?
Mike, let me just highlight the fact. This is one of the things that breaks the hearts of Kenyans. It is fine that these two leaders, one who is a governor and one who is a deputy president, they work together. It is good that they are speaking about 2022. But to be honest, the local mwananchi, the millions of youth who are unemployed want to know where can they get employment in this nation. The millions of Kenyans who right now don't have access to electricity because of cartels and different reasons. They want to understand where can they get electricity. The drainage system, our roads, our connectivity. You know, our markets right now are flooded. There are millions of mamambogas out there who do not know where to sell their goods. So when you tell them about, you're talking about 2022, and right now they cannot access their most basic human need. Are you seeing the gap of politics and development? Absolutely. This is a major gap that has made Kenya not to be on the top 10 growing economies in Africa this year. This is one of the reasons. Can we talk about 2022 in later on? Or can they do it behind closed doors, but when they come to the front, they give people development on the table? Because these are the gaps that is making Kenya. We are focusing on being a middle-income economy, but our actions are really speaking about elections and elections. And 2017, having 2 elections is what has made our economy slow or our economy stagnant. Can we speak about development with the much passion that we have in politics? And then we will grow far as a nation. And if Nanok performs, and if His Excellency Ruto performs, do they have 2 questions? Kenyans will unanimously vote for them. Let them deliver something on the table, and then we can unanimously vote for them. They don't even have, it doesn't have to be bitter foes. It is like he performed, he delivered, let him be president.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, there you go. Let's finish off with a cartoon on page 14 of The Nation, which is another matter that Kenya has been looking at. And this is to do with the IEBC. And, well, basically the cartoons are, again, IEBC, they're firing a gun and a cannonball, rather. We have Chiloba who's being fired, but he's not going along. He seems to be pulling, rather, Chiloba is being fired, and, Chiloba seems to be tagged along on his tie. So another issue that, of course, we need not forget, our electoral system.
IEBC, as a rule of law states, needs to be an independent body. But the amount of politics that it is in it seems the judiciary has to intervene to make sure that it is an independent body and it does not play to the tune of any political party or of any political individual. As these political games and wars are going on, it makes the credibility of this institution that is made to be credible not to be credible anymore. So when you see someone like Chebukati, you hear he has got 7 bodyguards. You wonder, where is a mismatch? Where is a gap? Can the law enforcers look at how can this body be independent and they're able to play their mandate without any politics whatsoever? How can they make it in a way that they secure it from the political party's interests or political individuals? How can they secure themselves from politics?
All right, and well, we just want to wind up. Thank you very much, Caroline Chege, for joining us this morning. But a quick review of your tweets that are coming through on our question of the day. And remember, you can answer that question on social media. The hashtag is Morning Express KTN, or you can tweet at KTN News, or you can tweet me directly, and that's at Michael G. Gitonga. The question being, are you satisfied with how media has covered devolution since its inception? Kevin Ongo says, yes, they have done their best. Thank you very much, Kevin, for that. We also have James Mugambi, who says, Kenyan media is demotivating. They never report anything positive about their county or their country. Can they begin being ambassadors of their own country? Keep your comments coming, but for now, we'll have to wind up right there. And this is Morning Express, and at this point in time, we want to release our KTN home viewers. Life and Style is just about to begin, but those of us on KTN News, we are definitely carrying on, and on the other side of the break, we have more stories making headlines. Do stay with us, and we are coming to you live from our studios on Mombasa Road, Standard Group, which is on Mombasa Road, and we are taking that short break, but do stay with us right here. We'll also be giving you a traffic update on what's happening on your roads in not too long from now. We take that break. We'll be right back.